For those new to the channel or who don't know me yet, my name's Hemming Hu in the green shirt and yellow shorts. I'm a two-time Olympian who represented Australia, and I was also the Australian #1 male player for many, many years. I've now retired, and I go around the world coaching club level players on how to get better, how to understand the nuances of the game. So without further ado, I'm going to analyze how I defeated the former Mexico #3 and someone who lives in America now and has been sitting objectively at a rating of 2100 to 2300. Has been floating around that rating for quite some time. So key things to note, he is a former Mexico #3 back in 2003. So you may think, oh, it's a long time ago. He hasn't just magically lost his skills, right? He's still a very good player who is basically the same level or more, right? Because he has been playing. He's probably wiser than his retiring days. Sure, the game has evolved, but whilst we're quote unquote warming up, I'm just here to give you some context before we jump into the match and dissect how someone who's 1900, 2000, how they can overcome someone who's, a couple hundred points above them, right? So key things to note before we dive in: if your level is at 1500, 1600, you just need to focus on how to beat the players that are 1700, 1800. I'm sorry to tell you, but the whole I need to win the right way, I need to do what it takes I need to play the way I would play when I'm at 2000 and so forth. No, mate. You need to get to the next level. Just like a video game, you don't think about how to get to level 96 when you're at level 7, right? But for some reason we do that in table tennis. We feel matches have to be won a certain way. And here, hopefully I can convince you guys that that's not the case, right? The reason why club level players don't get the match results they want, even though they feel amazing in training, is because they lack understandings of, one, the nuances of table tennis and why they truly lose. Two, they fail to understand what the purpose of training is and what the purpose of matches are. So here, we're going to go deep into every shot rather than just analyzing the whole match and giving you one or two thoughts. We're going to dive deep into the whole thing, and yeah, throughout the video, I'll stop and give my exact thoughts. And sometimes issues I make might just be a mistake. There might be certain match strategies in there which I'll teach you, and then sometimes there might be things that hey, this is an issue, and if I was him or me, this is stuff that you want to train. This is how you'd actually train to fix it medium and long term. So first point of the match, I used to freak out if I lost the first point of the match, and if I won it, I'd be like, oh my God, I'm going to kill this guy because I won the first point of the match. But we're still trying to figure out each other's games out. I don't know him, he doesn't know me. So here I'm preparing in case it goes short, and then I see it's half long and I make the half long topspin. Amazing. I then step out because he will play a block with no spin. And I didn't do anything wrong. I just happened to not put enough spin and I happened to hit it off the end. So I'm not freaked out. I know what I have to do to change that. So yes, if we have a look at it again, pro tip, it's always easier to wait for short. And then if it is short, you come in, right? And then if it's half long, you can easily go down with the racket. Rather than the opposite way, because if you wait for a topspin and it suddenly comes short, it's way harder of a transition, right? A lot of people fail there. A lot of people stuff up by trying to do that. So I step back after a first spin, because unless you're playing anti-spin, they're going to block back, and I just happen to miss. It's all good. Next point. Focus on the next point. So yeah, that's what we're going to do. We're just going to keep going. So long serve here, I play down the line, I catch him off guard, and then boom, right? So there's a lot here that's happening that you might not necessarily see. Now let's talk in depth about it off the court for a bit. All right, so if we replay that point, you'll see a critical skill here. I don't know it's coming long until now, but then if we watch that exact same serve again, my mind picks up that this is not a side spin serve, it's just a pure flat serve that he's decided to serve to me. So I see it, and I know most people like to run around expecting to hit a big pivot. So in my mind, I like to play down the line, especially if I don't know the guy, and then I just get ready for a rally. And see, it worked. He expected a pivot, got him. Now keep in mind, I don't know him, so I'm going to test him by doing my favorite play. I'm going to serve topspin and hope to get in, and boom, that's exactly what we did. So let's look at the key things behind this shot in slow motion. So here, I'm serving a ball that comes in reverse, short to his forehand, because that's where most people have weak receives. Look how far away he is from his body, right? It's much harder to return serve with the forehand. Yes, it's better to play a forehand topspin than a backhand a lot of the time because of the body mechanics. We get more body in the shot. But when it's some small touch thing like that, serving short to the forehand, if you guys just took that one tip from this video and implemented it, I guarantee you're going to get much easier returns from your opponent. Now, maybe you can't necessarily know how to follow up against that ball effectively yet, but I guarantee you're going to get much easier returns if you serve short to people's forehands. Or anyone who's, past the beginner stage where they can backhand and forehand topspin. Now, if you're trying to get to the next level, whether you're a club level player, whether you're a professional, serving short to the forehand is incredible, because if you look at The receive, when you receive serve like this or like this, my hand is closer to my body and my whole body is closer to the ball, as opposed to this, where you're gonna have less reading on the ball and you're gonna have less control, right? So serving short to the forehand, as long as it's not super high, it's always gonna generate you much easier receives than if you were to serve short to the backhand. Of course, there's exceptions, but for the most part, and you see professionals do this. You see Fan Jindong doing this. You see this happening a lot, right? Especially when you mix long to the backhand. It's the, you know, these are the two this is the furthest distances of two balls from each other in table tennis. There's two of them, but this is so much better than short to the backhand and long to the forehand for obvious reasons, right? So if you can get a serve that looks similar and then suddenly do short to the forehand and long to the backhand, that is an amazing pairing. And then if you're able to know what spin you're serving and what ball is roughly going to come back. For instance, right, if you serve short with topspin low to the forehand, you're probably going to get a flick back, right? So you've got to be ready for a flick, and then whether it's to the backhand, middle, or forehand, boom. If they push it, it's hard for them to push it low and short. It's often going to come back high or pretty low quality. If you're playing professionals, that's different, right? Because then they can hit the flick harder, they can push short better. You might not get that same privilege. But who I'm targeting is those that are good, but then certainly not trying to be professional. They're trying to get to the next level at club level, or they're a young player who's trying to know how to get to, get to semi-pro level ASAP. Then this works wonders. Even at a professional level, they're doing this, but you just can't, when you play professionals, expect the same. You can't expect the same easy kind of balls that would work at club level, right? It's all relative. So the last couple of balls, that's always my strength, to serve short to the forehand. If someone flips, or flicks, it's really hard to play a good one, and then I'm all over it. Keep in mind, I'm not trying to serve the opponent off. I'm trying to generate the receives that I want so I can dominate the point very early on. When they serve, I'm trying to hunt for half long and long, get the first spin. I'm trying to push the ball back short often if they serve with backspin short. If they serve no spin or top spin, I'm then trying to play an aggressive flick and place it well so I can dominate the point. This is how I'm thinking in matches. There's no reason to delay until the rallies to really try and control the point. Do it from the get-go. Have a great return of serve. And this was my weapon later in my career. Serve, know what's coming back. A lot of you serve and you don't actually know what's coming back. You think you're serving backspin, it's coming out no spin, and that allows opponents, and actually encourages opponents to push back with not much backspin. You think you have to spin it up and it goes off the end, right? Whereas if you actually had a heavy backspin serve, your opponent has to go under the ball and generate backspin to get it back heavy. That would mean that you get a heavy backspin to work with. Yes, you have to work harder, but if you get that ball over, you got more spin, and then you would have won the point. Yes, it really is as simple as this to win matches at club level. I'm not saying simple is easy, but if you know what you're doing, you're being calculated, then it opens the door for you to win club level matches easy. This is things that I've lived. I've gone through the club level struggle, dodgy players, and then learned how to beat them, as well as taught hundreds of clients how to do the same. So this is not stuff that I just magically made up. It's stuff that I've lived, I've experimented in coaching, and just know to work. So if you're doing the same thing and you're implementing the steps correctly, you're gonna get the same outcomes. Even people that I haven't coached personally one-on-one, they've been able to see better results from this. So I hope this gives clarity on what the game really is about. Because a lot of people think, oh, if I just keep getting stronger in the rallies, you keep doing the same exercises that you do, many group coaches do around the world. You got to keep in mind, group coaching is very different because it's about organizing a group, right? So if you just do it the same exercise as everyone else thinking that will get me better, it won't, right? Unless you actually start to think for yourself and go, okay, what is actually costing you matches? It's because you don't actually have the confidence to make every top spin on table at club level, right? Now, what works at a beginner, club level, and pro level is different. My specialty is, and what my chosen thing to teach is to teach club level players how to get better. So what I'm telling you is specifically everything that works at club level. Some of them do work at pro level, some of them don't, right? So keep that in mind when I'm telling you these things. All right, let's watch the next point, but let's keep this video at one set so that this is not going too long. I'll do this in 4 separate parts. Eventually I did beat this guy 5-0, but I recorded 4 sets, and yeah, back to the video. So you hear me say, I got away with a terrible push there. And honestly, after this serve, I didn't expect that it was going to push short, especially because he was quite late to the serve. I repeated the same serve because I'm like, why change a winning tactic? So I serve kind of low, no spin. He drops it short, but then I was late to come in and my head was so far away from my racket. This was the worst push I've ever done in my life. But instead of dwelling on it and going, oh, I just try and win the point. He hits it and I just try to make a block back, makes a great block back. He was surprised and he played a soft block, and here I chose to play a topspin instead of a block. So needing the confidence to be able to hit these sort of shots from mid-table, then he starts letting me get in my forehand, he starts going back. Now, a big mistake that you guys make is when people go back, you try and hit it off the bounce and rush. Instead, take a step back like I have in case his lob kicks and it lands deep, and just keep grinding the ball to his backhand until he misses. Unless you're super confident of hitting a winner to the forehand, keep the freaking ball to the backhand. I don't care if it takes 10 years for you to win the point. You're not the one that should or needs to take a risk here. You're in charge of the point. Don't blow this. That's what your job is when they're going back and fishing or lobbing, right? So one of the worst pushes, we're both good enough to know that, like, hey, when you get the first short push, even against pro level, it's nasty, right? Very, very high level pros like the Chinese, they're good at this, but even for good pros, this is hard. So anyway, moving on to the next point, just move on, right? If he does push short again, you need a better response in case he does that. So here, serve short to my forehand. In general, you get more time returning serve than when you serve and you're trying to play the third ball after their receive. If they push your serve, it comes straight from just over the net. You get way less time to make a good decision on it. So anyway, these are just balls I'm missing. Wasn't ready for him to serve long, but I didn't overanalyze. Here's another key tactic. I just gave him back what he's been giving me. Usually if people use a tactic against you that works against them, think about this, right? You do things against opponents that you think are going to be good. They're going to work. They're going to be ugly to play against. So if they're doing it to you, chances are they probably hate it too. So test it. Often you'll be very surprised how it works as well. Boom. So I just pushed long. I put him under pressure. I was ready to block if he did topspin. But that long push, it's not easy to always make on, right? You may think it is, but it's not. So here I push short, ready to open. And as soon as I play a good enough backhand, that opens the door to pivot if you played a cross court. We'll talk about this one in future videos, this set play more in detail. All right, so at this moment in time, I feel in control of the points, even if I've lost a few. So I just want to keep doing the same thing. Boom, it gives me a weak, for our level, this is a weak ass flick. And I'm just like, thank you very much. Just hit it as hard as I can. Now, if you really rewatch it again, so I make the serve here. You may look at it and not know what's going on, but let me break it down to you. So I'm using my body really well on the serve. I let it drop and I keep the serve really low, loaded with topspin, which is a hard serve to execute until you get good at it. Gives me a weak flick because he's late. He's standing too far from the receive. That's the problem. But see, I cracked the first ball and I'm not prioritizing recovery because he's giving me such a weak ball. The earlier on in the point, the more important it is. If you play a great first ball, there might not be a next ball. So yes, he might block it back and I've got to be good enough to recover anyway, even though I've played a huge forehand. But don't, for the sake of recovery, drop the quality of your initial ball. That's a huge important lesson. And some people just don't quite get that when they think about, we must recover, man. It's the same. If your serve is bad, you're probably going to get a hard receive. If your serve is good, you get an easy receive. So here I clip the net on a short push and obviously it rattles him a bit. It forced him to come in unexpectedly and fortunately, luckily, I get a high ball, put it away. Putting away high balls, an underrated skill. So I drop it short again. It was a bit of a tentative one because yes, it's a practice match, but we both want to win. Yes, he's a nice guy. I'm nice to him, but we both want to win, and there's nothing wrong with that, right? If you practice matches, you're getting competitive, but as long as you can lose and win good about it, it's great. Be competitive, not a problem. Oh, so this is a shot I developed later in my years. Right, let's watch it again. So those who I've coached know this as the dive, right? So here I served half long by accident, but as soon as I see him about to topspin, my eyes light up and switches. My brains go, okay, you need to play a block or a counterspin. I straighten my legs and I get my torso in front. It's very different than reaching, but I do counterspin that down the line. And I know how to play this ball very well now since I learned this concept in 2020. It's what Ma Long does, but this, I've explained it in previous videos. So if you want to know more about it, I'll link you to it, put it in the comments. So here I had an easy ball that I could have put away, but just a bit of tension, didn't get enough grip and didn't, but I just move on. I didn't do nothing technically wrong. So 6-10, and I mean, a fault is always handy. So yeah, here's the first set. Now stay tuned for part 2, 3, and 4, but we're gonna wrap this one up here. And in parts 2, 3, and 4 that is upcoming, I'm gonna analyze the rest of the sets in tremendous depth. Key things to note before we do part 2, part 3, and part 4 in the coming days and weeks. Yes, you might look at this and go, this was quite a boring set. And yes, watching table tennis can be quite boring to most people, especially those who don't understand table tennis. But realize that winning table tennis, if you actually watch a full match and not 3-minute highlights that are all about the winners and the big points, table tennis is won and lost based on what's happening early and all these scrappy points that are happening at the start and at the earlier on, these half longs, these mistakes. That's actually where table tennis is won and lost. So you want to get good at the shit things, more or less, right? It's not all about getting good at what's pretty. It's about getting good at what is effective and what consistently wins points. So in this case, returning serve well, right? Look, I know a lot of people in the video and the comments are going to go, oh, just based on one set, they're going to go, oh, if this guy's Mexico number 3, if he's 2100, 2200, even 23, then he would kick your ass. I really do defend this guy in saying that if you are thinking of commenting that and, you're a comment that can't be seen, so you're obviously going to have more courage to write more of these comments. For the most part, he would kick your ass if you're watching this, right? And I say that more as a respect to him and to yourself. So keep in mind, this is how the game is won at a higher club level. Now, again, if you're at 1500, 1600, you have slightly different issues. For you, it's more about identifying and hunting those half-long balls, getting those first spins on the table. If they block back, you're ready to put another ball back on the table. If you serve, know what you're serving, know what to expect back, and consistently put that ball on the table. That's what the game is at a 1500, 1600, at a lower level club level, and even an intermediate club level. At a higher club level, level rating, it is similar too, but there is not all that much different, right? Obviously, if you want to be a professional, then what I'm teaching, you need to be able to do it, and you need to be able to do things quite beyond that. All right, I hope you guys found this video helpful. Stay tuned for part 2, 3, and 4 in the coming days and weeks. And let me know in the comments below how you like this new format for those who already follow me and what you want to see more of.